Welcome to the Longevity Man podcast, where we delve into the minds of extraordinary men who have embraced self-care and longevity. My name is David Ito, a holistic life and wellness coach. We discuss all things longevity specifically for men, from healthy lifestyle choices to expert advice and inspiring real-life stories that will help you take action towards a healthier and longer life. All right, so welcome everyone. This is a podcast episode, and today we have Robert Saldarini, who is an expert in men's holistic wellness. So we're going to go straight in. We're going to dive straight in, and we're going to be asking Robert, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thank you, David. I'm Rob Saldarini. My background for the last 20, 30 years has been working in men's wellness. I'm a professor emeritus. I have a master's degree with a concentration on men's studies, with particular emphasis on a men's physical acceptance and understanding of himself, as well as his emotional and spiritual sense of self.
What do we mean when we discuss men's holistic wellness?
It really is a three-dimensional concept where we train the body, we train the mind, and we train the spirit into a holistic concept of wellness.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that connection between body, mind, and spirit?
We focus on the exterior a lot, what we look like, how old we look, how our body is. But unless we engage our mind into a wholeness, eating well, choosing to continue on the proper path, persistence in and slowness that we don't evolve overnight, adds to it. But then there's also the spiritual part of it, where a man has to engage in the fact that I am happy on who I am. I am in a sense of peace with who I am, and I really like myself.
What happens with guys out there who are listening to the podcast right now and they're like, spirit is not part of my life? How would then they integrate this holisticness to wellness if the traditional understanding of spirit is not part of their view of life?
Well, of course, we understand that spirituality is not religion, okay, in the sense of formalized religion, and we're not talking religion here. It's a sense of who we are, that man inside, his values, his goals, his dedication, and we all have it. Sometimes it manifests itself in a lack of spirit through depression, right? And what we need to do is kindle that and work on those thoughts and direct them into a positive focus, one that then works with the mind as well as the body.
How does one know one has physical well-being?
Well, physical well-being, it's interesting. We can break it down into three parts. When we're very young and we want to tone our bodies and train our bodies, there's that weight training, and then we have the cardio training, and then we have balance. Well, when you're 22, it does that particular lineup: weights, cardio, balance.
Yeah.
In your middle age, early middle ages, when you start to feel aging, you then move cardio first, weights, and then balance. And then as you become a mature person, when we're working towards mobility, we do balance, we do some weight, and then cardio. So we balance those two. And yoga and these type of activities, at any given point in your life, from 22 to 90, you should always have that ability to be able to get up off the floor with unassisted.
In order to understand physical well-being, me being also a wellness coach, I'd love to hear more about, other than the exercise side of well-being, what other elements change or affect one's physical well-being?
Oh, well, there's the nutritional internal part and the environmental part. Very important components. People often forget about the environmental part. When you're in a good place, and a good place being one that you have great comfort, you feel better. Okay. The nutrition is very important. You could work and work and work and still eat a ton of French fries and find yourself getting nowhere. And this doesn't mean diets, because psychologically we know in psychology, the number one failure is diets. Okay. People read books and I'm going to go on that diet. Even if they lose the weight, time is over. Boom, they gain the weight back, leads to depression, frustration, and the cycle begins. So eating well, taking things out. The key here is good nutrition, good balance of nutrition, and portion size to control those kind of aspects. Environmentally is being out walking in the park, a nice day, a walk along the shore. These environmental factors help you stay on your goals, help you get to a place in life that you're comfortable.
How does someone who is kind of maybe at the beginning of their wellness or their self-care path, people who've been, guys specifically, who've been working their entire lives, and it's now they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever age, and it's like, I need to start taking care of myself, is like, how do I know how much effort to put into my exercise, how much effort to put in my to my nutrition? Is like this holistic wellness is like, what are the metrics to understand that I've reached physical wellness or physical well-being?
Well, we got to get off the couch.
For sure.
That's the first thing. And then we begin with a very honest assessment. And people do too much dependence, particularly men, too much dependence on the scale. Okay, we get on the scale. I weigh 190 pounds. That's too much. Um, and they don't look at body fat. They don't look at their entire body. They don't look at the type of body. Are you, what they call ectomorph, endomorph, all those body shapes? Because some people are naturally thin. Some people are a little heavier. We try to find a place to start by literally keeping a little bit of a diary. How much do you weigh today? What do you want? And here is the real important: start slow.
Mhm.
It's evolutionary, never revolutionary. You
Mhm.
really start slow. And we don't go on the scale for the first week. You're not going to get on tomorrow and have lost 2 pounds and be frustrated because all you ate was a carrot. Okay. So, a good plan, you could get a physical trainer, you can get a coach. I mean, if you feel that I don't know where I want to go with this, but in the beginning, that's cool. That's pretty much a jump start. First of all, start gaining respect by lifestyle changes. Cut out the junk, the processed foods. That's a big lifestyle change. Best way to do that, don't buy it. If it's not in your house, then don't, you're not going to eat it,
Yeah.
right? So you need to make conscious efforts on lifestyle changes. That doesn't mean that you're going to starve yourself, because again, the diet's not going to work. Okay. Moderation. If you ate two fistfuls of M&Ms, why don't you go down to a handful? But if you take everything out, you're going to be a miserable person. It's going to affect your mind and your spirit because you will be cranky, because you're not. And order things that aren't so fried. You know, we don't understand how many calories we consume by just social eating. For example, if you and I went out to a bar and ordered a 5 pound basket of French fries and sat there with beer, by the time we went home, we would have consumed that 5 pounds of fried potatoes. And we wouldn't even have thought of it because we're talking, we're eating. So we try to put ourselves in situations that does not occur, or we consciously remove that.
Let's talk a little bit about the mind. How can our viewers right now work towards their holistic wellness through the mind?
As I mentioned, if we keep a journal, a log, if you will, of what our expectations are and what we're eating, if that works for you, if you're very quantitative based, that is really, really successful. And the mind and the body again work together because sometimes people eat because they're depressed or they feel that this is failure. Oh, well, I'm not going to lose weight. I'm just going to eat anyway. I feel good when I eat, right? I mean, marketing tells us to eat. So when you engage into a plan and you see success, nothing fulfills a man more than achievement. And that's why you need to check the goal against the outcome. And then that's why I often don't go on the scale for a week. But if you start your plan and a week later, you may be 2 or 3 pounds lighter. You may never see that in the mirror, but you've achieved. And setting your mind and getting that discipline, eventually it really starts to balance out that whole I can do this. And once you believe it and not think it, that sounds like the same thing, but it's so not, right? So once you believe you can and you start seeing progress, your mind is going to take more control over your body.
When I talk to my clients, I talk about, first of all, self-esteem and then how self-esteem builds towards confidence. And confidence being a state in which we believe that we can. All right. It's not about cockiness. It's not about arrogance. It's about like confidence that I have the skills, the context, the capacity to do what it is, whatever it is that I plan myself to do. So, again, how can we help guys watching this podcast build their self-esteem and their confidence so that they can continue working towards their wellness?
Well, to build one's self-esteem is a process, as you know. There's no panacea, no secret little pill that I can say tomorrow you're going to think yourself wonderful. But as we always in coaching and in life, the progression towards your goals and your outcomes are going to build your self-esteem. They will. People will start saying, David, you look really good. you know and then you're going to feel good about yourself, or you look like you lost some weight, you're bulking up, you're starting to really look good. What's your secret? And when they start coming to you for advice, then you've achieved.
If we find ourselves in a context with others who support us, who support and value and understand and participate in our plans and our objectives, in our betterment, in our activities, we have a higher chance of getting that positive feedback from the people that are surrounding our context, which will in turn support our self-esteem and then in turn support our confidence. Is this more or less what you're trying to
Well,
say?
exactly. And to point, which is very important, and being a faculty member for years, the if you really are dedicated to improvement, some of the people who surround you may resent that and try to pull you back down.
Mm.
I see that with students. A bunch of guys want to go out drinking, but I have a test. Oh, you'll pass it. Let's go out. Oh, why are you going to be that way? And because people, if you're improving, it makes me look like I'm not. Does that make sense? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's a little bit of a social change. You may have to change
Mm-hmm.
a little bit the environment, the places you go, the people you associate with. And that's very difficult, but it's a necessary element to a full happy self.
So, in other words, much of our advancement and progress towards our well-being is related to who we have around us, our support group, the
Oh,
positive and the negative influences of the people around us.
yes,
So then finding the right environment, the right network of people is key in our advancement towards wellness.
right. And to that point, this is why we join a gym, we get a coach, we go to the yoga class, and we may need to build our own self-confidence a little bit by starting in our basements. And that's so positive and that's great. But at some point, we need to change and join a group of like-minded people who are focused in the same direction as we.
And I think you're the perfect person to ask this question to. How Tell us examples of those groups, because I believe that you are an expert in this. It's like men's groups. Can you give us maybe a few more examples of where can guys find like-minded, like-spirited men out there who will be part of their support group, who will help them build their self-esteem and their confidence?
Well, there are a lot. We have to be very careful of the social media trap, because the social media trap is we tend to surround people with very much like us. We invite them to be our friends, and they fulfill their fantasy that we are all the same, okay, wherever that may be. Um, there are free-based services such as the app called Meetup, MEET, and you can go out there and find a group of people who love schnauzers and join that group and talk about schnauzers and meet with these people.
Mhm.
There are also very good men's group where we find like-minded. And what I like about Meetup, you can dissect all those groups and populations to men over 50, right? And then there's social media groups like the ones that you host, like on Facebook, the longevity meetup, the yoga meetup. These are good, but the key is if you're going to use social media, you need to engage. You can't lurk, because then you're going to be frustrating. You read everyone else's comments and then you go away. But you need to open up dialogue, going to meet people in groups. Every town has different types of men's groups. You need to identify what your personal values are, and then you join up. Male bonding is very important. It's a strategic part of how men are reared. We bond with other guys on similarities.
How can we connect to spirit, or how can we develop some sort of spirituality, again, not religion, as you clearly said at the beginning, and how can we do that in a way that it contributes to our success, to our health, to our well-being?
When we talk about the spirit, is the overall. I remember when I first started yoga years ago, we started with the chant and all of the Zen music and everything. And I'm like, being typical to the gender, this is a whole bunch of crap. And now I can't do mat work without Zen music. All I can do is suggest to guys, try it. Open your mind to it a little bit, you know, feel, and you will find comfort, because I did not. For the first few weeks of yoga, I went with that exact mentality you said. I'm here for the physical practice. That's what I paid for.
I would like to finish our podcast today with kind of an open-ended question for you, Rob. So, what concrete actions can you recommend to these podcast viewers with regards to creating a plan for improvement for their body, mind, spirit, holistic wellness? Any tangible suggestions or actions that you might be able to provide?
Well, I'm, going to go back, keep the journal. That's ever so important, because you can literally see the progress by the day,
Mhm.
and some days do not have it. Also, remember, it's slow progression. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to set, expectations so far ahead of yourself that, that you're going to, be Arnold Schwarzenegger by Tuesday. The young Arnold Schwarzenegger. You don't want to set those expectations, and get engaged, like you said. Join a class, go to a local gym, find something, get a few buddies together. As I said, The concrete thing is get off the sofa and put your plan slow and steady.
I just want to tell our viewers that Rob Saldarini is a coach. He's a wellness coach, and he also organizes workshops for men with men. Where can guys reach you if they want to contact you to ask about you, your questions, and your coaching?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on the social apps by my real name. You can find me out there. I'm pretty easy to access with a quick search if you need me.